My guest today is Mr. Trent Montgomery, a professional ballerino for Les Ballets Trocadero de Monte Carlo at world-famous all-male, gender-skewing comic ballet troupe that parodies the conventions of romantic and classical ballet. So what does that mean? It means the dancers portray both male and female roles in a humorous style that combines parodies of ballet, posing, and physical comedy with straighter pieces intended to show off the performer's technical skills. Much of the humor comes from the male dancers performing en travesty, roles usually reserved for females, while wearing tutus and dancing on point. The first inception of the Trocs, as they call themselves, was in New York City in 1972. But it wasn't until 1974 that they became officially known as Les Ballets Trocadero de Monte Carlo. Since then, the ballet troupe has received international success with a wide audience appeal, having performed for Shirley MacLaine and at the Royal Variety Performance for Prince Charles. In 2017, the troupe was profiled in Bobby Joe Hart's documentary film, Rebels on Point, which you can see on Prime. Mm-hmm. So how did a boy from small town in southeast Arkansas become part of the world's foremost elite group of queer dancers? Well, we're going to find out today. It is with great pleasure I welcome to the table the ambitious, unique, and well-traveled ballerino and star of Les Ballets Trocadero de Monte Carlo, Mr. Trent Montgomery. Yay! And I know y'all are all shocked that I could say that.
I'm cheering every time you get the French kind of right.
I wish everybody that's listening could see you guys cheering me on because I have practiced. Is Trocadero supposed to be Trocadero with a rolled R?
It is a Spanish word.
However you want to say it.
Is it a Spanish word?
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean?
It typically, the company is based out of, we like to...
Monte Carlo?
Yes. And also like the style that we pull from is from Russian ballet style. So the voiceover at like the top of the show, we do a voiceover at the very beginning of the show. And it's done in a slight Russian accent to help the audience get used to the ballerina names, which are all in different type of Russian accents and everything as well.
So do Russians roll their R's?
Sort of.
You speak German.
It's not very different, but it's not a roll. It's more, what do you call it? Glottal? Anyway, it's a different. It's yeah. All right, Don't ask me about Russian.
Well, we're just going to call it the
Trocadero.
The Trocs.
The Trocs, yes.
Yes, everybody calls y'all the Trocs. I had an exceptionally good time learning about the history of en travesty performances. And so en travesty dates back to the 1600s when women, it was immoral for them to be on stage.
Like in Shakespeare, right?
Yes.
That's like famous.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yours is comedy, but Shakespeare was serious.
Yes.
And all the male and the female roles were played by men.
Yeah. And a lot of the female roles were played by younger men just because of the voice and everything too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so the word en travesty, transvestite?
I
didn't look up the Latin
I don't know what
word.
I don't know I haven't seen it spelled out.
En travesty.
Pass it over.
Okay. All right, I'm ready.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. It's going to make me lose my place today. I'm going to be like, en travesty.
Oh, yeah.
Can I roll my R on that? En travesty.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Anytime you get a chance to roll your R.
You should.
Yeah, in investments or like in clothes, like other clothes. Yeah.
It performed in travesty. So Sarah Bernhardt, I believe, played a man in Hamlet.
Yeah.
So you don't ever, so even the women sometimes through theater.
Yes.
Stonewall riots changed everything.
Yes.
So when were the Stonewall riots, you guys? 68, late 60s?
69, 68, around that time. And then the company really started around like right after the Stonewall riots in the wake of the riots.
People came out of the closet.
Yes.
And said, look, we have talent.
Well, and actually the company started in a part of the West Side Discussion Group, which was an early gay and lesbian political organization. And they
what was the name of the group?
West Side Discussion Group.
West Side Discussion Group.
And the dancers actually would do midnight shows in New York in a loft that was one of the owners of the West Side Discussion Group, our leader in the Eugene McDougall. He was one of the general directors of the company later in life. He allowed the Trocs to perform at these midnight shows. So it would be the dancers going from their daily lives and their daily jobs and then having to come to Trocadero to do the show at midnight. And so they started off with very small audiences, members, and a lot of it was the queer community. And then it grew from there. And obviously it's become this huge organization that has now just celebrated our 50th anniversary.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
There's not very many things that are 50 years old. Arkansas
Flag and Banner
is.
this year.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I know. And so I always think also that I read where it's also called pantomime, which I think of pantomime as like a guy in white face and white gloves and a black suit in a box on the street corner.
Well, it's actually very similar in ballet. In a classical ballet, we use a lot of pantomime to be able to tell a story because you're not using vocals to be able to tell the story. You're using it through your body. So I would do this image and it would mean to dance. So in ballet, this means to dance or dance for me. So we use a lot of this pantomime to be able to be a storyteller through the movement.
Mm-hmm. And for those that are listening on the radio, he's rolling his hands above his head like the wind.
Mm-hmm.
And that means to dance like the wind. So the documentary I watched was called Rebels on Point.
Yes.
And it's a 2017 documentary, like I said, on Prime. And it's interesting that they talked about ballet is steeped in so much history and that it feels elitist. But the Trocs performances are fun entertainment for all. They've kind of brought it to mainstream.
Absolutely. And I also think that they bring a humanity to ballet that we miss a lot because ballet is kind of put on this perfectionist kind of pedestal. It started in this aristocratic type of time period. And I think just being able to laugh at dancers like falling on stage or a dancer in the wrong spot. I think those are such human moments that we experience and we don't see that on the stage. So I think it's so important to have those moments and it allows the audience to just relax and just enjoy the experience and enjoy the entertainment.
It's slapstick.
Yes, exactly.
It with a lot of talent.
Yes. Yeah.
Slapstick on point. Maybe they should just call it, instead of Rebels on Point, they should have just called it Slapstick on Point.
I think that's great. I think the audience is always surprised when they get to our show and they're like, oh, wait, they can actually dance and they actually have technical ability because they think it's just going to be a bunch of drag queens prancing around on the box.
I know a little bit about ballet. I was a kid on Point 1,000 years ago, and Point is so hard.
Yes.
And I'm a little bit angry when I watch the men on Point because your legs are so much stronger than ours. They are so good on Point.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Their just physicality is so much better than women.
Well, and I think that's what the Troc does really well. It highlights the physicality of the male dancers on Point. I think you see like all of these, I think I really appreciate point work and like being able to study it. I think there's such a beautiful gracefulness that comes, especially with the difficulty that comes with point work. It's so hard to bring apart that graceful kind of quality. But I think the Trocs is really effective in pushing this kind of hyper physicality with the point shoe and using the point shoe as that type of tool.
It's all on point.
Yes, yes.
And tutus.
And tutus. And eyelashes and wigs and
watching them put their makeup on is why I have so much makeup on today.
You had to show off a little bit.
Oh, absolutely.
I didn't know if Trent was going to come and drag or not. And I was going to compete.
You were going to be ready.
and I don't think people realize how hard humor is. The timing of humor, they say, is harder than drama acting.
Absolutely.
Not for me. I'm a naturally funny person.
Of course.
But on stage, your timing of your humor.
And also like keeping the humor fresh throughout this amount of time too.
And how long to hold the pause.
Exactly.
That's the trick of humor.
Yes. And I think that comes with every dancer that's in the company. Like that's a good thing about the company is we actually get to be a part of the process of adding those comedic elements. Like maybe something will happen in rehearsal where someone will slip and fall or someone will say something real quick and they're like, okay, no, keep that in. Like it's funny. And so we also become a part of that legacy and the comedic legacy of the company.
And the amplifying of your movements.
Yes.
You cannot just do your regular stuff. Everything's got to be over the top.
Exactly. They always say that it takes like a year to become a Trocadero dancer. And
Really?
I completely agree because it's just a new way of moving and also a new way of expanding your body past this kind of classical art form that we're used to being in.
It takes a year.
Yes. Yeah.
And lifting those guys is a lot. So you may be better on point, but you have to lift these really heavy guys. Some of these guys are big shouldered guys.
Oh, yes.
Did you look smaller to me? Were you lifted?
It really depends. Like I came into the company already with some point training, so I went already into like a lot of point roles.
A guy with point training?
Yes, yeah.
They do that now?
I actually did a lot of that actually here in Arkansas.
In Southeast Arkansas?
Yes.
Well, you have to be able
Give
to
a shout out to your teacher. Who's your teacher?
My two main ballet teachers were Rebecca Stalcup and Melinda Tobian, and she was the one that really started and allowed me to wear point shoes in class and allowed me to learn these female roles and do the female variations. And so I'm very grateful for them because I never would have been able to do this and without their support. And
How old are you?
coming into Arkansas is great.
How old are you?
31.
You're almost too old. They have to retire by 40.
Well, we have someone in the company that's been there for 25 years.
Yeah.
And he's still performing and
The
still
Carter
dancing.
guy?
Yes, Robert Carter. Yes.
Robert Carter is still there.
Yes. And I remember watching videos of him when I was a kid. Like for me, he was Trocadero.
You're jumping ahead of my interview. I was going to ask if you got to meet him. You danced with him.
Yes, I still dance with him. He's still in the company.
That's so cool. But point to something that is good to know, even if you didn't plan on doing like ballet drag, right?
Absolutely.
Because you ideally probably are going to be teaching those techniques to new dancers someday or,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why I got into it is because first of all, I just wanted to be the female dancer. I wanted to do the point rolls.
Sure.
I remember always doing the pas.
You wanted to be what kind of dancer?
Huh?
You wanted to be what?
I wanted to be the female dancer. I wanted to be doing the roles. Like I was ready to be Sugar Plum.
Did you know about the Trocs?
I did.
Yeah.
I started learning about them when I was in undergrad at the University of Arkansas at Little Rock through a dance history course. And then I did a lot more research on them when I was in graduate school at Florida State University. And that's when I auditioned for them, was right after graduate school.
All right. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Mr. Trent Montgomery, a professional ballerino. That is a word, y'all.
It's real.
Okay. The first time I heard it, I thought, that's not real. They're making that up. But that's a real word. That's a male ballet dancer. So a professional ballerina for Les Ballets, Trocadero de Monte Carlo, a world-famous, all-male, gender-skewing comic ballet troupe that parodies the conventions of romantic and classical ballet. Up next, the path from Northeast Arkansas to the world through the artistic expression of ballet. We'll be right back.
Do you have something to say? Say it in flying colors. I'm Megan McCoy, and my family owns and operates flagandbanner.com. We believe that flags tell a story and banners make an impression. Whether it's for your business, organization, or special event, custom flags and banners will make your message soar. Visit flagandbanner.com for high-quality products and quick turnaround. We're not just any flag company. We're the experts that answer the phone.
Thank you, Gray. We're speaking today with a professional ballerino, Mr. Trent Montgomery, from the world's foremost gender-skewing comic ballet company, the Les Ballets Trocadero de Monte Carlo, a.k.a. the Trocs. They are a high art, clever camp, pantomime variety show, popular, probably really big in Christmas and New Year's, because pantomime is really big in Christmas and New Year's.
I did not know that.
That's what it said on Wikipedia.
Wow.
Sure.
So how did a boy from Southeast Arkansas end up having such an illustrious ballet career? I got to hear this.
That's a great question. Honestly,
I just can't imagine.
It was a surprise for me, too.
You got a wonderful parents.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I grew up with a very big family. I have 5 brothers. But I had very supportive family. I think that was like the biggest thing for me.
What number are
growing
you?
up. I have one younger brother and the rest are older. So a lot of fighting, as you can imagine, in the household. But I actually started dancing recreationally when I was 3 years old. So my mom put me into dance classes very young, mainly because my friends were doing it and I saw them. I was like, you know what? I want to do this too. And I was very fortunate that she did that. I started with a local choreographer and dancer down there. Her name was Jill Chingalani at the time. And she had a little studio. And then after 2 years, Candace Howard took it over and it became Candyland Dance Studio. So that was where my early dance training was, Candyland Dance Studio.
That's cute.
It was. And I think it was a very special time for me because it allowed me to really find my passion for dance. You know, it wasn't super serious. I wasn't taking like daily ballet class. I didn't even know that you took ballet class to become a dancer until I got to college.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
You were just doing it because you loved to dance.
I just loved to dance, and we would do like little recitals and dance for the community. And so it really brought me into a passion for the arts and also a passion for performing for people that I love.
Did you get all the male roles?
I did. Well, I was the only male dancer there. So of course I was center stage for a lot of the stuff. And of course my mom had to make a lot of the costumes because back in the time they didn't have a lot of male dance costumes in costume catalogs. So my mom actually had to create and make all of my costumes when I first started doing dance.
Sure. I can't wait to meet your mother. I hope I get to meet her sometime.
Oh, she's fabulous.
I bet.
She sounds good.
She sews.
Yeah, man.
She's very creative, and that's where I got all of my creative, I think, energy and like very strong feminine energy from her for sure.
Mm-hmm. So you went to UALR?
Yeah. So after
for ballet, they've got a great ballet program.
Well, I started there. Actually, started UALR as a dance minor, and I was a graphic design major because I was really into art, and I felt I needed to do something that was more functional and more practical. Exactly. Yes. So I started my first year of UALR doing graphic design, and I was a dance minor. And then I just vividly remember doing a show. We were doing a disco number for that piece, or at least I was doing a disco number. And I remember just watching the performance. I was only in at the end of the show, so I was watching the performance, and I just sat there and I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So after that, I immediately changed my major to a dance major and then finished out my degree there. And that was the time that I met Rebecca Staukup at Arkansas Academy of Dance at Arkansas Festival Ballet. And that's when I started my collaboration with her. She was my first ballet teacher, actually, at UALR. She was adjunct at the time, and she taught my Ballet 1 class. So I was learning like tombe pas de bourrée, a plie, a tendu. And then she asked me to come in and take her company class with Belinda Topian. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. I show up. I have no clue what this woman is saying. She didn't demonstrate. So I was like, I had no clue what this terminology was. I was just watching.
The steps
yes.
out?
And she'd be like, plie, tendu, do this, and play the music. And I was like, terrified.
Oh, no.
But it was such a great learning experience for me because I realized like I was a very visual learner. So I could just kind of watch the other dancers in the space and pick up from their movements. And it also pushed me to work even harder to get to that point to where I wanted to be there. I wanted to understand what she was talking about. So I worked and took class daily. And then I would also go to the studio at night and take daily class there just to get caught up with my ballet.
And you learned French.
And I learned French, yes.
Because if
some
you don't
French
know,
terminology.
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite one is attitude.
Yes.
Because I have that one. Every time she says, and then attitude, I'm like, I know.
I got that. I can do that.
That's the only one I remember. I know Polly Bourret, you just said that.
Yes,
one.
yes.
So now you are taken from UALR.
Yes.
Rebecca.
Yes.
Our mutual friends, how I met you. And then now you're going to Florida?
Yeah. So actually, when I was at ULR, I received the Accademia dell'Arte scholarship. This is when it was happening in the program.
What's it called?
Accademia dell'Arte. It was a study abroad program in Arezzo, Italy.
Do they still have it?
They don't have it anymore, no. But it was funded through Chip and Cindy Murphy. And it was a wonderful scholarship. It was a competitive scholarship, but I was fortunate to get it the year that I did.
So you auditioned?
Yes. Yeah. It was an audition process. And
Where did you audition?
It was through UALR. So we had to basically go through like an adjudication process with our professors.
Oh,
and kind
you
of
didn't have to go to Italy and
audition.
No.
No.
And they used to do that for multiple fine arts programs,
yes,
right?
Yes, they did.
I've heard of that before.
Yeah, and it was such a wonderful program. I also think it was very fortunate that I was the only one from my program that went because it really pushed me out of my comfort zone. And this is my first time going abroad. This is my first time flying. And this is my first time just being in an international country and being there and being able to experience that.
What year was that?
Dance. This was in 2015.
So we had the internet. You were able to Google everything.
Yes, exactly. And I luckily made some really good friends there that allowed me to, still feel comfortable in the space, but still get a lot of excitement and also enjoyment from the program.
How long did you stay there?
For 3 months. So it's from January until like May, or late January to early May.
And so now you got a job at Florida?
Yeah, so after this, I came back and worked as a freelance dancer and just danced with gigs all over Arkansas. And then through Rhythm McCarthy, who was one of my professors at UILR, she highly encouraged me to go to grad school. She thought it would be perfect for me. And I started looking into it because I was kind of considering what I wanted to do next. And I auditioned for Florida State University for their graduate school program. And I got in 2017 and went into that program for 3 years. And it was an MFA program. And it was so fortunate because I think a grad program is so good for artists who want to figure out their voice in the field. Because it gives you, I think of it like a toolbox. It gives me a toolbox that I can like pull from in a lot of experiences of my life. And it was such a great experience because I really got to dive into who I was as an artist, like what impact I wanted to make on the art world and also in the dance world. And from there was when I started really researching queer ballet and looking into the pointe shoe. And that's when I also found out a little bit more about the Trucks. And they came there for a tour in February of 2020, right before the pandemic. And that's when I auditioned for them.
Which town were you in Florida?
In Tallahassee.
Tallahassee.
Yes, yeah.
So they came to Tallahassee.
They came to Tallahassee. They were a part of the opening nights, which is a production.
Did they have a big show? Were there very many people there?
They did, yeah. It was sold out, I believe.
They sell out everywhere.
They do. I think again, it's just like such a niche thing that people don't get to see, and also there's not a lot of ballet that you can go and just laugh about and enjoy.
It makes it open to the public where everybody can accessible.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's jokes for everyone in the audience. Like if you're a ballet, have more ballet knowledge, we have a lot of ballet jokes in it. If you're just a regular human and you've never seen ballet before, you'll get the jokes of the people falling or being out of the wrong spot. So it's great for every kind of type of audience.
So 50 years ago when it started, it was sort of a rebellious and only older people win and gays probably, and it was like you said at midnight, and then it got a little more notoriety. But now it's a family event.
Yes,
kids go.
Yes, and that's my favorite is having kids in the audience. Being able to hear their laughter is such a fulfilling moment for me as a dancer.
So, what part of the Trucks did you perform? Which dances did you do?
Everything.
Really?
Yeah,
Did you do Swan Lake?
Yes, we do Swan Lake all the time. Yeah, that's one of our main ballets.
The swan?
I am normally the first swan that comes out, and I have understudied the role of the Odette, the princess, or the queen of the swans.
Everybody should go Google the Trucks.
Yes.
Swan, when the swan's dying. Is that
the dying swan? Yes,
dying
yes,
swan,
that one is stunning.
It's stunning and funny at
and
the same
hilarious.
time.
Yes,
but it's two things. It's emotional because the swan is dying and growing old and losing her feathers, but at the same time she's falling down and pigeon-toed and
exactly trying to run away.
Yeah. Is that person that used to perform that show was there for that performance, that particular dance was there for 20 years, I believe also.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it used to be performed by Ida, was one of the company dancers.
Oh, that's not who I was thinking it was. I was thinking it was that another man who had been there 20 years, and I was going to ask if he's still there. But
no, the only dancer that we have right now is Robert Carter, who's been there for the 25 years. He just celebrated his 25th year.
So crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite performance of all the dances that you've done?
I think one of the, maybe not my favorite, but the most impactful performance for me was when we were in London, and this was in 2022. So we were in London right when Queen Elizabeth II passed away.
Oh.
And we were performing that night when we got the information that she had passed away. And we were all just sitting in the dress rooms, putting on our full bead, getting the lashes on, and we get the message. And we were like, okay, so how is this going to go?
Yeah.
And that rest of that week in London was so special because the audience members came in, and we would start off the show very quiet. Like there wasn't a lot of laughter, but throughout.
Did you change that because of her?
We did. So when we were there, we normally have a little overture where someone speaks about the company dancers and the dancers that are going to be in the show tonight, and the costumes by Coco Chanelski, and these kind of jokes to kind of build up the show. Well, we took that out and we just played their national anthem. And so for us to start the show, it started off a little bit slow for us, but throughout the period of performing, their excitement and their enjoyment and their laughter was so powerful.
Probably a relief.
Yes, exactly. And that's what it felt like for us too, is like we were giving them a little bit of relief from the grief that they were feeling. Mm-hmm. And so for me, those were the most powerful performances that I've experienced.
What role did you play that night?
Well, we typically do probably 3 or 4 ballets a night. And I believe in this one, we were doing Swan Lake. So I was a swan. And then we did Meximas was our 3rd act ballet. So I was a male dancer in that one. It's a Spanish-Cuban ballet. And then we also had Vivaldi Suite, which is a very, very difficult point heavy work. And I was a core dancer in that one too. So a lot of dancing.
Is that the one where Robert does a million spins?
No, that one is in Paquita, or we also have that in Swan Lake. Yes. The traditional 32 fouettes. That one is in Paquita.
I was going to ask you how many. I couldn't even count them. Yes. On point. This guy is phenomenal.
Insane.
I love that it has like a title too.
Oh, yes.
The 32
This is the 32 fouettes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like the choreographer was cruel, whoever designed that.
It's meant to be virtuosic. It's like
What's that mean?
Show off your talent.
Yeah.
Well, it does.
Yeah. It's like that. You're saying Vivaldi, like it's very difficult because like everything Vivaldi did was really difficult and virtuosic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, one thing that they said in the documentary was that the way the trucks attack the ballet is kind of like the way it's kind of rough like a man. They call it attacking the ballet because they're men. Even though they're queer men, they're still going at that ballet.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So what's your stage name?
My stage name, so we have 2. We have our female, which is Ludmila Bolomova.
What now?
Ludmila Bolomova, so like Bolom over.
Oh.
Yes. And then my male name is Mr. Jens Witzelsuch, which is just like a comedy on like
Mr. Jen
Witzelsuch.
Witzelsuch.
Yes.
So what's with the Russian theme again of all the names and everything?
That's just how the company started. So and a lot of our repertoire comes from Russian ballet.
Sure, right.
Yes, and Russian theater because that was the pinnacle of ballet during that time period.
Cool.
Describe the life of a Trocadero dancer.
It's a lot of time on the road, a lot of bus, a lot of driving.
How many days do you think you're on the road?
I'll just go off of this last past tour we just did was a full month tour. So it was all of March, from March 2nd until March 31st is when we came back. And the first week we're in Salerno, Italy. So we were, that rarely happens for us. We're normally like do a show and then go to the next city, do a show next, go to the next city. So we had 4 shows in Salerno. And that was, of course, a long travel from New York to Salerno. And then we get there, have like about a day or 2 off to rest and recover and get used to the time change. And then the rest of our performances, we were traveling all over France. So we would do like a show in Chartres, and then we would do a show in Provence, and then we would go to Frejus. So for that tour, we were kind of all over the place, where we would do one show, travel the next day, do a show, travel the next day. So it's more of a stop and go.
Are you nervous before every performance?
Not anymore, no. I used to. I think when I first joined the Trox, yes, for sure, because I felt the pressure and also just being a new dancer there. But I don't get nervous anymore. I think I've had a lot of experiences, and also with the Trox, I've done a lot of performances very quickly, and I feel like I've had a span of a career in maybe 10 years and 4, because we just go nonstop. So I don't really get nervous anymore.
I think that you are on the road probably 2/3 of the year.
Absolutely. Yes. We typically do. So if we're looking at our truck schedule, it'll be January through March is our US tour. Then we'll take a little break and do an international tour, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Then we finish out our US tour like April to May. We'll get a little bit of time off in the summer, and then we again go international. And then it's
of all the art forms, to me, ballet is the most rigorous because you can't ever rest. You can't let your body ever. You're an athlete.
Yes. Yeah.
You're an athlete performing art.
Yes. And that's something that like took me a little bit to get used to, especially with the touring company, because I was used to, I would do a Nutcracker show or do a couple of Nutcracker shows, then I would have like a week or 2 off to recover. Whereas with this, you do a show and then you're immediately on a bus or a train to go to the next city. So your recovery time is a lot shorter. So that means you have to spend a little bit more time to rest and to recover.
What's broken on you?
Luckily, nothing right now.
No bad hips, no bad knees, no broken ankles?
I feel like I've been very fortunate. I've had injuries in the past, but since joining the trucks, I've been very fortunate. And I try to take care of my body the best that I can that it's working functionally.
Do you ever drink alcohol?
I don't so much anymore, no.
Do you eat everything perfect?
No, I don't actually, because I mean, a lot of times in the US tours, we're in the middle of nowhere. So you're in a city where there's only like a McDonald's, or you have to go get some fried food or something like that.
You have to do fast food.
Yeah. So, but I'm dancing so much that I have to eat a lot to be able to keep the weight on.
And you're so thin.
Well, and that's what happens is like, I'll take a break, and I come from a Southern grandmother, so she loves to cook, and she wants me to eat. And she'll come home every time. She's like, "You're so skinny. You need to eat." Yeah, she's like, "Here's gravy." And so I normally
chocolate gravy.
Exactly. So I'll normally just try to gain a bunch of weight when I'm not touring, so that when I go on tour and I'm dancing so much, I just automatically loses it.
It sounds horrible and wonderful all at the same time. All right, this is a great place to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Mr. Trent Montgomery, a professional ballerina for Les Ballets Trocadero de Monte Carlo. Founded in New York City in 1974, this world-famous all-male drag ballet troupe parodies the elite conventions of classical ballet with a comical performance to be enjoyed by all. Up next, retiring from touring the world with the Trocs, and how Trent plans to bring his artistic gifts and talents back to the people of Arkansas. We'll be right back.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Got ourselves a flag violation. Stop right there!
Who are you?
We're the flag police.
And this is a crime scene.
Excuse me?
I think what my partner's trying to say is that your flag looks a little tired. I think it's time for a new one.
Oh, I guess you're right. It is a little tattered.
Don't worry, ma'am. Flagandbanner.com is here to help. With their wide selection and knowledgeable staff, they'll have you sorted out in no time. Flagandbanner.com. We're the experts.
We're speaking today with Ballerino Mr. Trent Montgomery, whose career in ballet has taken this East Arkansas boy to touring the world with the famous Les Ballets Trocadero de Monte Carlo, a gender-skewing comic all-male drag ballet company called the Trocs. If you're just tuning in, you need to go back and listen to everything that he has said, because it's good. What did we even talk about, Gray? I can't even remember how this.
Oh, in this interview already?
Yeah.
God, the history of the troupe, how he got there, circa via Florida, how incredibly virtuosic, word of the day, all of what they do is, as well as being hysterically funny. God,
how it brought ballet to the and how it's brought ballet to the forefront for all family people to see it. Made it accessible to everybody. Everybody can enjoy it. Do you perform in Little Rock ever?
The company has actually performed in Fayetteville, but we haven't performed in Arkansas.
Fayetteville gets all the good stuff. The Walton Art Center.
Because they've got a good airport with good connections. That's why.
They do.
I know.
When I go to Miami, there's one direct flight to Little Rock once a week. There's one to Fayetteville every day.
I know. Yeah.
But then I'd have to drive 3 hours home, so that's no good. Anyway, so you travel a lot, and we've talked about how many days you're on the road, but how many people travel in your troupe? I mean, there's a lot of people running around backstage.
Oh, absolutely.
Not just the people on stage.
So we typically have, our company is compiled of 12 to 13 dancers. And then we also travel with our stage manager, Shelby. She is incredible. We also have our ballet master, and we typically come with a wardrobe and lighting. So it'll probably be like 4 or 5 extra people besides the dancers. So total 18, around 20.
Do you travel on a bus?
It depends. If the travel is longer than 8 hours, then we'll do a flight. But if it's under 8 hours, we'll try to do a bus.
When you dance, I can see why you were sitting in the audience and you were watching these. When you first decided to be a dancer and you're watching your people on stage perform, and you have that euphoria that comes from dancing. There is something about dancing and the grace of it and the stretching of it, and I don't know. There's something about it that makes it very euphoric. And it would have to be that way because the pay's not good.
Yeah. And I think it's also like a spiritual experience for a lot of people.
I think it is too.
And I think that the audience can pick up on that when they see these performances. Yeah. Because for me, I think like my body is my instrument. So I spend a lot of time like trying to take care of my body in terms of listening to it all the time. So I think I'm very fortunate to have a great connection to my body. And to me,
And your body's your temple in religion.
Exactly. Yes. And so for me, it's a very spiritual experience, and the spirituality of getting ready for the performance, putting on the makeup, putting on the point shoes, putting on the wig.
You just like to get in drag.
I
on
do.
that.
ritual.
I mean, who
Let's be
doesn't?
honest.
Who doesn't?
I love it. I love
We all love a good lash.
I think I'm a makeup artist. They call them makeup artists for a reason because
Sure.
it is an art form to put on good makeup.
Yeah. And it also like it takes time. Like for me, when I first started, I had no clue what I was doing, but through working with some of the other dancers and obviously a lot of the expertise that was there, my makeup just continued to improve.
So the guy you said that's been dancing for 20 something years, Carter,
Robert Carter.
Robert
Yeah.
Carter, he in the documentary said some people dance because they want to or they like the feeling of it, and he said I dance because I need to.
Yes.
And you can feel that when he talks about it.
Absolutely. And you can see it when he moves too. You see it in the class. You see it in the way that he does the dying swan. It's very evident. And I think a lot of the dancers in the company are very much like that too.
So y'all perform in, I don't even know how many cities. I tried to figure it out. I couldn't decide.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. And I think you really are more famous in other places besides the U.S.
Yeah, actually, our biggest fan base is in Japan, and we actually have like a
course.
separate kind of
Love that.
corporation, Trocadero Corporation in Japan.
You
that
do?
we work with. Yes. So like when we go to Japan, we don't take our full crew. We have a full wardrobe crew there. We have a full presenting crew and everything.
They have huge sellouts in Japan.
That's
Yes.
so cool.
And the audience throws flowers and stuff
And
at
they'll
them.
come up at the end of the show, and you're because you stand there and clap, and you wait for them to give you gifts.
And they
it's
come
the
up and
biggest
hug
thing
all
I've
those sweaty
the
men up
craziest
there in
thing.
tutus.
They do. They love the sweaty men in their tutus.
I was like, oh,
Incredible.
don't hug him. Oh, no.
Incredible.
Oh, no.
Yeah, as we're pouring, the makeup's flying down.
Yeah. They have worked so hard. So how long is a performance? 1 hour or 2 hours?
We've tried to shorten it, so it's typically around 1.5 hours or
Is
a
there an
little bit
intermission?
shorter. Yeah, we typically do at least one intermission for 10 to 15 minutes.
I think an hour and a half is the perfect time to hold an audience. I do not like these long movies.
No, and I think also we've realized after the pandemic that the audiences can't sit there as long.
We don't have the attention span.
Exactly. Yeah. So we've actually tried to shorten our shows a little bit more to do more of a break instead of a full intermission.
And it has a bigger impact. You don't want the
Absolutely.
audience to get to where they're like, God, when is this going to be over?
Exactly. And especially with like humor, again, it's all about the timing. So if you can keep that timing kind of going throughout their performance, then it keeps the show going and also the show evolving.
So how long have you been touring with the Trucks?
I'm going into my 4th year now. So
And you're going to retire after 4 years?
Yeah, I think so.
Hey.
I think I just getting to the point where in my career where performing isn't as fulfilling as it used to be. I love performing for my friends and my family. I'm at the point now in my career where I want to be able to give back everything that I feel like I am very fortunate in getting through my career with like my mentors and everything that I've learned throughout my time. And I want to bring that to the Arkansas community and to the Arkansas dance community.
And let's be honest, it's tough to be on the road.
It is. Yeah. And
It's not
and also
wonderful
that.
conditions.
Yeah. And I'm also ready for other parts of my life. Like I'm ready to be around my family more. I want to be around my dog, be able to see him a little bit more. So you
You can't really have a life.
Yeah. You
So-
kind of take a pause in your life to do it.
Which is why I think Robert Carter is so interesting that he's done it for so long.
Absolutely. Yes. I don't know how. I could never, but some people are like that and some people can continue.
What's the
doing
other
it.
longest running one you think at the Trucks?
It depends. I mean, it's different with every dancer. Some dancers will come and stay there for 12 years. Some will stay for maybe 2 or 3. It's
If you were married to somebody who was also
Yes.
a dancer, I think I could do it because you'd have your partner with you. You'd be
Exactly.
touring the
Yes.
world. You'd be
Yeah.
eating with dinner with them every night.
but then it also would be very difficult because you're with them all the time too.
Well, family business.
Exactly.
We know all about
yes.
that.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's
yeah,
what the
what are you doing
Trucks
for
is.
Easter anyway?
Yeah. We've already talked about this, Mom. Yeah.
But yeah, it feels very much like a family to me. So it will be difficult to leave a family because it
So you
feels
didn't
like
fall in love and want to get married to a truck?
No. No, I have not.
Okay. Uh,
I don't know what that was supposed to mean.
Just seems like a good place to go fishing. So, what's the average size of an audience, or is there an average size? Like Japan is huge.
Japan is huge, so that's over like 2,000. It really depends on where we go, because a lot of the times in the U.S. we'll go to very small cities and then we'll go to very big cities, which I think is great.
What is Edinburgh? How big is Edinburgh?
Edinburgh is pretty big. It's in Scotland, and it's
You mean Edinburgh?
yeah, Edinburgh.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Oh, did I say that
Mom.
wrong?
Yeah, Edinburgh.
Oh, okay.
It's not like it sounds. It's not like it looks.
Well, it's not like I typed. That's for sure.
Oh, okay, that's why. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
But it's a pretty big city. Yeah, it is.
So, is it going to be hard to leave them?
I think so. Yeah. I think for any dancer who has had like a performing career, it's going to be hard to leave and like moving your body that much, because I mean, we're so in tune with our bodies, and I have such a known lineage of performing. That's been my entire career so far. So yeah, I think it'll be difficult to leave, but I'm also excited for like other artistic
So, when's your next day?
explorations.
When's your last day with them?
I'm not sure yet. Well, right now,
Oh, he hadn't decided.
right now it's in June, but it just depends on.
Talk about the audition to go audition for them.
Yeah, the audition is actually very different, because you kind of audition for them when they're touring. So for me, I did the audition when I was at Florida State University, and it was in February of 2020. They were coming there to perform, and they did a master class in the School of Dance. So first I took the master class with the School of Dance, and that was with a ballet master. And then I went and also took the company warm-up class that night before the performance as my actual audition. So I took 2 classes in one day.
So they got to see you
Yeah,
twice.
they got to see me twice. Yeah. And then I also got to meet the dancers during that second audition. And then they also allowed me to sit and watch the spacing rehearsal, so I could kind of get an
What's
idea. So with the trucks, obviously every theater we go into is different. And so
Oh.
it's a different space or a different stage. So every time we have to space every single
Mark the
piece.
floor.
Yeah, mark the floor and make sure that like we're in the right spaces depending on the space that we're
What
in.
do you think it was about you that they were like, yeah, he could be a truck?
I think for me, I think I have a very, very positive personality, and I think I bring a very positive atmosphere to any type of environment that I'm in. And I also think my work ethic, they were surprised by, and the fact that I also had prior point training before coming into the company
That is so unusual.
was very helpful.
Yeah, that is really unusual for you to have point training.
Well, I did a lot of it again, like through Arkansas
Rebecca.
Festival Ballet and Rebecca, yeah, and then also when I got to grad school, I was taking a regular point class every week, and my thesis was looking at the point shoe and the gendered body on point.
30 years ago, men were not allowed to even take a point class.
No, not at all. And I remember my first pair of point shoes were a pair that one of my friends had at the ballet school, and she just gave them to me because we were around the same size. So they didn't even fully fit properly, but I was so excited to put them on that I was like, yes, I just want any type of point shoe.
When the show's over today, will you show me your feet?
Yes, I will.
Do
Of
they-
course.
I want to see what they look like.
Dancer to dancer.
Yes.
I will not be present.
We love the
Thank you
dancer
very
arch.
much. No. Yeah, right.
Oh, I bet it's a good one. So you're moving back to Arkansas, and you're going to be at the Arkansas Festival Ballet.
Yes.
And that's in downtown Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yes, it is. Yes.
And I love the fact that there are 2 ballet companies on Main Street. And I know they're competing a little bit, but I like the fact that you've got art grouped together. There's the Rep on that street.
Absolutely.
There's a ballet, Arkansas Ballet. Then there's the Arkansas Festival Ballet right
Yes.
next door to each other. And I think you're all kind of ancestral the way you've, I mean, the dancers are like every community. They all know each other, just like I know
Absolutely.
everybody in the flag business.
And a lot of the dancers from the community either grow up when ballet school and then go to somewhere else, or they do, or there's a lot of kind of cross.
Does UALR here in Little Rock, does anybody know, do they still have a big ballet program at UALR?
Well, no, because they shut down the program right after the pandemic.
Gosh,
Oh,
the
that's
arts
right.
really
Yeah.
suffered after the pandemic.
Yeah, after the
didn't they?
pandemic, they had maybe one more year of like the graduating class, and then they shut the program down.
So how many people apply for a truck's job and get turned away? What percentage? How unique are you that you got accepted into that program?
I think it just depends. I think it depends on like who's leaving the company and who's also coming into
timing.
it. Yeah, timing. I also think like for me, I was very fortunate that it was right after it was right before the pandemic. So then by the time that the company came back around, there were open availability. But it really depends on timing. And also the company is an international company. We have dancers like internationally from Japan, from Spain, all over the place.
Everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere, which is
Cuba.
Yeah, exactly. And so people will audition when we're in Europe, and then maybe they won't hear back for like a year or so. For me, it was a whole year before I heard back.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yes. Well, yeah, because it was right after the pandemic. So
you just sat in Florida. Were you working in Florida, or did you come back to Arkansas?
Yeah, I worked in Florida for a little bit. I was running a studio down there called Ballet Arts Conservatory of Tallahassee, and it was also a pre-professional youth company that I worked with, and I was associate artistic director.
Are you a choreographer?
I am, yes.
Do you think dancing or choreography is your strength?
I think a little bit of both. I think it evolves. Like, I think performing used to be my strength, and it's something that I used to bring me a lot of passion, but now I want to create more, and I have more of an artistic creative sensibility that I want to push. So I would say a little bit of both. For me, I'm just an all over creative person. Like, I love to do any type of art. I paint, I do embroidery, just any type of that. So any type of like creative expanse. For me, I want to be able to do it.
So, in the opening when I said most of the people that I interview have the heart of a teacher, that's him. Work hard, that's him. So the other one was believe in a higher power. Were you able to take these risks because you believed in a higher power? It doesn't have to be Jesus, but I mean just the universe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or something.
Again, like I said, like my body and also like dance for me is a spiritual thing. So for me, that was my understanding of spirituality.
Isn't that interesting? Over and over, we see that over and over.
You feel like there's a calling greater than yourself or a pull. Yeah.
Yeah.
And teaching seems to always be a part of.
And that's a pretty normal trajectory for a lot of professional dancers, right?
Absolutely.
Is to be a performer and then become a teacher.
Yeah.
Or a choreographer or something.
When I got into that a lot in graduate school, because it was more of like a teaching type of program. So you got a lot of working with non-majors and working with a lot of the majors in the dance department. I was also teaching at a local studio. I've also done a lot of fitness world teaching. So for me, like just being able to give back to people, I think is one of my driving passions and something that I want to continue doing.
And I think you stand on the shoulders of the people you
teach. Absolutely. Yes, I agree. And for me, like I wouldn't be here without my mentors and my teachers. So I want to be able to be that for someone else and for like the next generation of dancers and artists.
You really do have to be passionate about it because I feel like the arts are being I don't know, they're not being pushed as much as they used to be. They're falling to the wayside because I don't even know why, but it doesn't seem like there's important. There are decades where the arts are really important, and then there are decades where they're not. And right now, after COVID, it seems like not just restaurants are failing, but the arts are failing too.
Yes, yeah, I would agree.
Okay, so you're going to go to work at Arkansas Festival Ballet?
Yes, I am.
What you going to do?
I think I'm going to be kind of taking on more of an artistic director type of role. So I'll be working a lot with the youth company and teaching them and also rehearsing, choreographing ballets for them. And I honestly cannot wait to work with those dancers again. They're such a talented group of dancers, and also just working again with the next generation of youth and inspiring them to have a career out of this that I never thought I could have, I think is so special.
Mm-hmm. And Rebecca's
exactly. And I love Rebecca. Yes.
She's very passionate about what she does.
Yes.
And she's an excellent teacher.
She is. And she has created such a beautiful environment in that space. And I want to be able to be a part of that too.
Well, she's a mother of 4.
Yes.
So she knows how to handle those little kids in tutus.
And also she created that while she was a mother of 4, which is incredible.
Mm-hmm. All right. This is a great place to take a break. We're speaking today with Ballerino, Mr. Trent Montgomery from the famous Les Ballets Trocadero de Monte Carlo, known as the Trocs, an all-American male ballet drag troupe, familiarly called, like I just said, the Trocs. That's easy to say, and you don't have to do all the Les Ballets Trocadero de Monte Carlo.
Keep practicing your French, yeah.
I practiced it all morning, as you can tell. This is our last short break. We'll be right back to back it up.
What?
This is our last break. We'll be right back to wrap it up.
Flag season is here. Flagandbanner.com has everything you need to freshen up your home with a little red, white, and blue. Bunting is a great way to dress up the front of any house, porch, or fence line. Easily spruce up your yard with stick flags and garden banners. And our wide selection of decorative door hangers will make all your guests feel right at home. You can shop online or come see us in our historic showroom in downtown Little Rock, flagandbanner.com. We're the experts.
Today, we've been speaking with the professional ballerino, Mr. Trent Montgomery, from the famous Les Ballets Trocadero de Monte Carlo, a queer ballet troupe that has been performing for over 50 years. There's not a lot of things that say they can be performing for 50 years. I'm so impressed with that number, especially such a unique thing that, let's face it, not everybody loves the gay guys.
Absolutely.
But you have given them a voice in traditional ballet and in the arts where it's okay to be them.
Absolutely.
I just love it. I really, really loved it. AIDS was tough on the dance community and on the Trocs in the 80s. Did the Trocs talk about how it changed them during that time?
Yeah, we do. And actually, there's one of our pieces called Concerto Barocco or Go for Barocco. It's based off of Balanchine's Concerto Barocco. The dancers wear a red ribbon in support of all of the dancers through the Trocaderos that have passed away from AIDS and through the AIDS crisis.
They still do that.
Yeah, it's still a part of the legacy of Trocadero.
I like that.
Yeah, so we get to learn, it's such an important part and also a part of the company. And it also was a part of the lineage of the company. So it's important to know that about the company. And that's kind of how the legacy started.
Do the Trocs watch sports?
I don't. Well, I do with my brothers, but personally, no.
Be hard to do that, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
On the road all the time. You're like, what's going on in the March Madness?
Well, we do
in
have some of the
America?
dancers that watch like soccer and everything too,
soccer.
and keep up with tennis and a lot of stuff like that too.
Because
Yeah.
soccer's big internationally.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
a lot bigger than football and basketball.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I'm just such an American, I think of.
Basketball season.
You can cut all that out if you want to. I was just curious about that. So let's get down to the teaching it, paying it forward. What is your advice for budding ballerinas?
That's a great question. I think, especially just for budding artists in general, is just trusting your instincts and following through with them. I also just think lean on your mentors. Your mentors are there to help you. And so really understand like the expertise that they're coming from and take the knowledge that you can, but also know that you can take their knowledge and run with it. So it doesn't have to be something that you have to stand by completely, but it's something that you can look at and you can process and you can think about. It will help you in the future too.
That's great advice.
Thank
Lean
you.
on your mentors.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be here without my mentors and the connections that I have.
I think it's sometimes hard for young people to listen to their mentors because they're just naturally rebellious. But one thing that I think that ballet teaches all young people is discipline and to listen.
Yes.
Those are two really hard things for young people to do. I had struggled with that. I still struggle with that.
Oh, yeah. I think we all do.
So Nutcracker's the most performed ballet in the world. I think it's performed 600. I think there's 600 cities that perform it in America alone.
Probably.
How many times have you done the Nutcracker?
Oh, well, actually, I've not done the Nutcracker since I've joined the Trocadero because we don't do a Nutcracker. We will maybe do like a sugar plum pas, but throughout all of my time, I would say at least 50 Nutcrackers.
When you were growing up?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. And that's just through freelancing and working with Arkansas Festival Ballet. Yeah. A lot of Nutcrackers.
So we talked about dance and the freedom and the euphoria and the fact that you're an athlete. And I'm shocked that you don't have any muscle or joint problems. I'm glad that you're retiring before you get hurt and that you're going to be teaching and paying it forward.
Absolutely.
If somebody wants to train maybe with you or with the Arkansas Festival Ballet, do they just call the Arkansas Festival Ballet?
Yeah, they can contact the Arkansas Festival Ballet, or if they wanted to reach out to me personally, they can reach out to me.
How do they do that?
The best way is through social media. So my Instagram handle is at Trent Austin, or you can find me on Facebook at Trent Montgomery.
Nobody's got your name. I can't believe that. That's a pretty common name.
I know it is.
Doesn't sound like a ballerina's name.
No, I feel like it sounds more of like a, I don't know, kind
Bull
of
rider.
political bull rider.
Oh, Trent Montgomery. That does sound like a politician.
Yes, yeah, like a political
country music star. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So before we go, Trent, I want to do some breaking news for all of our listeners. You and I met a couple nights ago with
Yes.
Rebecca from the Arkansas Festival Ballet to talk about a partnership between the Dreamland Ballroom and Arkansas Festival Ballet. And I am thrilled. I mean, the ballroom is an auditorium, a performance venue. And we already for, 15 years now, we've been having, since 2009 maybe.
Mhm.
Well, I better
I
not.
think it's, it is. It's 2009.
We've been having Dancing into Dreamland.
Mhm.
And because I love dance, obviously. And so we've been having Dancing into Dreamland to showcase amateur and professional dancers. And it's a feel good.
Mhm.
Everybody feels really good about it. There's no, even though we judge the dancers and we have text voting, we don't really judge dancers.
Yeah, it's more of like a social dance experience.
It's dancing with the stars.
Yes.
With love and acceptance. And we promote, I mean, you could be 8 years old and you could be 60 years old performing or older. And so it's all types. It's not just ballet, but there's usually 8 performances that night. Like I said, amateurs and professionals. And so I'm trying to keep the art of dance alive because it's, like I said earlier in the interview, it's so difficult to be a dancer because you can never relax.
Mhm.
You can paint a picture. I guess musicians feel the same way. They can never quit practicing either.
Yeah.
So you can never really relax. And so I love giving them an opportunity to perform.
Absolutely.
But with you moving home, we're talking about a partnership between Arkansas Festival Ballet and Dreamland Ballroom, and we may have a fundraiser called Ballet in the Ballroom. I think was
Ballet in the Ballroom, I think.
Ballet in
Yes.
the Ballroom. So, can you talk a little bit about what Rebecca and you were thinking about doing?
Yeah, I think our biggest thing is just, again, wanting to bring dance back into the ballroom and also bringing more dance to the community of Arkansas and the Little Rock community. So what we're looking at now is to do our storybook ballets in Dreamland. So that would be like our storybook ballets that we do in May, typically will be around the time. And we want to bring the dancers to that performance space because I think there's a lot of opportunity with ballet to only put it on a proscenium stage where the audience sits back and isn't really a part of it. So I think it's very important for us to use that space to its advantage and make it a more of an immersive experience for the audience to see and be a part of.
And it just fits.
It does.
I don't know why it feels so right, but
Yeah.
it feels really right.
Yeah.
And I hope that we can become your home for Arkansas Festival Ballet and that people
Absolutely.
will come to not just for the love of ballet, but for the love of old buildings and the love of history. Ballet's history is so deep
Mhm.
and the Dreamland Ballroom's history is so
So
deep. I
deep.
just feel like they go together so
I
much.
agree. And it gives the dancers something to learn about Little Rock history too.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have sure enjoyed talking to you. I want to tell our listeners that we've been speaking today with Ballerino Trent Montgomery of the world-famous queer ballet company Le Ballet Trocadero de Monte Carlo. Thank you, Trent, for coming on and sharing your story of success and expanding our knowledge about the world of art and ballet. And for your gift, we have you a desk set with the U.S., Arkansas, and Florida flag.
Amazing. Thank you so much
You're
for having
welcome.
me.
You're welcome. I've really enjoyed speaking with you. And I hope when you move home that we get to spend a lot of time together.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I hope you come and teach one of my ballet classes.
Yes. I will over the summer for sure.
Don't judge me, though.
Oh, no, not at all.
You sure?
I promise.
Well, good. This show was recorded in the historical Taborian Hall in downtown Little Rock, Arkansas, and made possible by the good works of flagandbanner.com, Mr. Tom Wood, our audio engineer, Mr. Jonathan Hankins, our videographer, daughter Miss Megan Pittman, production manager, Delora DeVore, and my co-host, Mr. Grady McCoy, the fourth, a.k.a. Sun Gray. To our listeners, I'd like to thank you for spending time with us. We hope you've heard or learned something that's been inspiring or enlightening, and that whatever it is, will help you up your business, your independence, or your life. I'm Kerry McCoy, and I'll see you next time on Up in Your Business. Until then, be brave and keep it up.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. For more of Kerry's interviews, click on either video on the right of the screen. And as always, thank you for watching.